Hi, Mike Seagraves here, getting ready to take on the class of Referral Bootcamp. What is Referral Bootcamp? It's a class or it's a program that you can use post-close, meaning you've just closed your transaction and you want to stay in contact with this client for the rest of your career. So if you're fortunate enough that we can actually have this class in person, this is a 1-hour CE class. Obviously in video format is not available, but if you take this class again, then it would be available as a 1-hour CE. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is to take the book, the manual that you have, kind of follow along, and so I'm going to go through this class relatively quickly, but the only way this class is going to work for you is if you take each page, read each page, study each page, and then if you've got questions as you go through the process, let me know what those are. This slide presentation does not go through each and every page. That is left for you to identify what questions you may have. So let's kind of dive in. Referral Bootcamp is a proactive approach to effectively staying in flow with the people that you are working with or know you that like you. So you don't have to just use this for people that you've closed homes with. You can use it for individuals who maybe are in your database that know you. At the end of the day, this is meant for you to feel comfortable to solicit friends and family and past clients. And so if you're a brand new agent, this would be a perfect class for you to start with, because you want to be able to get the people you know reaching out to you immediately. It also gets you in the habit of reaching out to them and staying in contact. So what does this mean? What is it that we're doing here? So the process is we're working our network to generate referral and repeat business. And what kind of business are we going to get? It could be both buyers and sellers. So we're using our client care systems, and for Remax that would be our CRM system that just rolled out, which is Booge. And marketing, we're going to use yard signs, home ads, internet, and just listeds. Those are the type of marketing that solicit past clients. And where you see it going backward and completing the loop in referral and repeat, what that is saying is through this process you're getting repeat customers and you're getting referral customers. They say that on average over the course of your career, 40% of your business will be from new clients, 40% of your business will come for referral, and 20% will be repeat. So you want to do everything you can to stay in contact with your clients, namely because it is identified that everyone you know will run into 5 individuals in the next 12 months who will look to buy or sell real estate. And the key here is if you stay in flow and proactively are working with the people that know you and like you, then they're more apt to say, hey, get a hold of Mike Seagraves. He can help you buy or sell your house. If you only have 10 friends, that's 50 opportunities. How many of those opportunities are you getting today? And chances are you might be just getting 1 or 2 of those. The question is, how do we increase that? How do we double that? How do we maybe get 5 to 8 of those? And so by staying in what we call in the channel with your client, it has top of mind awareness, so that when they hear of somebody, they're willing to get up and walk across the room and say, hey, you need to reach out to my agent. So what's this course about? This course is about a 33-touch system, 33-touch program that will help you to increase your referral and your repeat business by proactively staying in flow, by reaching out to friends, family, and past clients through mailings, through phone calls, social media. And in this module, there are some scripts that you're going to want to practice. You're going to hear me talk about the word sparring. And so sparring is kind of like the term that you would use with boxing, where you kind of go back and forth and trade jabs, if you will. But you have to practice these scripts. It has to become part of you. Yeah, every agent that's in this business that has been in it long enough has a certain way of explaining certain things. And so you want to explain it in a way that makes your client feel comfortable. And so you don't want to be robotic, and that's why you spar with the material. So in this system, what we're identifying here is that we're looking for a prospect. We're going to go after our network or our sphere. We're going to implement a 33 touch program. And the only thing that you need to know, which is in this program, it's in this booklet, which I believe is on page 9, you will find the permission dialog. So if you want to write next to permission dialog, page 9, that's where you'll be able to find that. That's one of those dialogues that you're going to want to adopt as your own. Then you're going to have a few things. You're going to have a call list. Obviously, that's a database or a set of individuals. That's family, friends, and sphere of influence. But you're going to have some mailers, birthday cards, holiday cards, and thank you cards, and we're going to get into that. So here we go. Let's dive right in. So I kind of jumped ahead apparently, but everyone you know is going to know of at least 5 people looking to buy or sell this year. The question is, how many people do you know? How many of those people would you call A clients? Again, if it's 10, then that's 50 opportunities. That's a pretty good year on anybody's record or anybody's standard. If you were able to close 50 deals, obviously you aren't getting all 50. But I would tell you to pass on to your friends and family in your sphere is don't tell them to call you. Give you their name and number, and you will call on their behalf. Because what happens a lot of times is your name gets put on a napkin or your name is mentioned in passing at a restaurant, and then they get home and they forget, or they threw away the napkin or the business card, and you never get called, right? So obviously the largest groups that you're going to work with in this business are referrals and past clients. And people that know you and like you are also statistically less likely to sue you as well, which is an added benefit in our industry because potentially there are a lot of contentions with the way we do our business, and sometimes lawsuits are part of the game. But people you know, friends and family, have statistically proven to be that group of individuals that will not work against you. So these are the kind of people that you're after. You're people that know you, like you, wouldn't do business with anyone else but you, evangelical about you, wouldn't do business with anyone else. So friends and family, again, it's a similar concept. The past and present working relationships, that would be your buyers, your sellers, your for sale by owners, any buyer conversations. You run into somebody on the street who's maybe it's a contractor. You really like that individual, throw them into your sphere of influence. Ask them, do you know of anyone, do you have an agent you would that you would list your home with today? And if the answer is no, could you be that realtor? Could you be their realtor in the future? Earn that business. You do have to go and seek the business, but you also have to earn the business. Nothing in this industry is free. So what is the 33 touch? We're going to go into the first 16. What is that? That's mailers. So first off, it needs to be professional. It needs to have value to the recipient, and it must be consistent. And what we mean by that is we're going to do something every 21 days. And why 21 days? Because everybody else is doing something every 28 days. What you probably don't already know is every time you go to your mailbox about once a month, there's a realtor that is marketing your neighborhood. And so there is a lot of that going on. And if we could get out there every 21 days, then you're seeing your client is seeing you more often than they're seeing your competitor. So in this slide, there are ideas of what would be items of value. You have to determine what those are. I know of a lot of agents that like the cartoon type postcards, but you're going to 16 touches is you're going to have 16 times you're going to send out a mailer or a postcard, but you're going to do it every 21 days. The beauty behind this system is you could actually, at the end of December of any given year, or the beginning of January when there's all that snow on the ground and we don't want to go outside, you could actually prepare your entire year in advance, and you could put it away in a folder that would identify what you need to mail over the course of the year. That way you can focus on your business and proactively market to your strength but it doesn't become reactionary. And let's face it, when our life becomes reactionary, we tend to forget. So I would encourage you to come up with a system. The second set of touches, which are 2 touches, is birthday cards. Birthday cards for both the husband and the wife. I would, again, in starting this in advance, go buy a bunch of generic birthday cards. You can even go on to Remax approved suppliers, and I'm confident you can find Remax card stock that is available. The other thing is, 2 more touches would be send a Mother's and a Father's Day card. So that's kind of different, right? So why would we do that? We do that because no one else is. No one is sending out a Mother's Day and a Father's Day card. And the key to this, and I say this in obviously jest, but it's serious, you need to make sure that they are mothers and fathers before you send out a Mother's and Father's Day card, obviously. If they aren't, then you need to maybe send a different card until they become parents. So pick a holiday and send it on that holiday. I prefer July 4th. Why? Thanksgiving, Halloween, and Christmas and New Year's all fall within a very short window of time. Everyone is doing mailing that time of the year. There really isn't a whole lot of reason to send out cards mid-year, which is also our busiest selling time. So I'm actually soliciting that you pick July 4th, or you could pick a Memorial Day or a Labor Day. But I think that you need to pick something that's a little more obscure that your competitors are not picking. The other thing is 8 touches are going to be thank you and thinking of you cards. So you're going to send a thank you card for any referrals or any personal contact. So every time you talk to this individual, you're going to hang up the phone and you're going to have a card and you're going to say, hey, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today. As usual, I'm always encouraged by your wealth of knowledge, and I'd like to work with you in the future. I hope that you'll continue to keep me in mind as you run into those 5 people that you're going to hear about this year that are going to buy and sell. So that's one of the reasons. And then you send thank you card or thinking of you cards, just because you are thinking of them, or maybe it's because you're in the neighborhood and you say, hey, I was driving in the neighborhood. Again, these are meant to just drop a note and say, hey, Mike Seagraves is in real estate. I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I'm still in the industry. We had a situation not too long, several years ago, where where one of the agents was walking through the lobby, and a consumer came in the lobby at the same time, and they looked at the agent and said, I didn't know you were still in real estate. I thought you got out of the business. So that hurt, namely because the reason the consumer was in the office was because they were there for a closing, and probably would have used that agent had they known they were still in the business. But if you don't stay in contact, how do they know you exist? So on to the next slide. Telephone calls. We're going to call them 4 times this year. You need to put that on your calendar. If you're using Booz, which I encourage you to do, you can actually set those in advance, and it will prompt you 4 times a year. And again, every time you make those phone calls, you're going to send a thinking of you or a thank you card. So every time you make a phone call, you're sending a card. So strategically come up with reasons for giving them a call. One of the reasons you would give them a call, and the first time you're going to give them a call, is because of the permission script, which is coming up on the next page, on page 9. And if you've got, some of our agents do promotional things like Boonshoft Museum, those are reasons to be contacting your client. So what is the permission call? I'm going to let you read this on your own, but let me tell you what the permission call means to me. I've sparred with this material, so let me explain to you what I would say. I might say, hey Steve, this is Mike Seagraves, and it's been a while since I've talked to you, and I wanted to call you for a couple reasons. One is I wanted to apologize. I wanted to apologize and tell you that I'm sorry I haven't stayed in contact with you as well as I would have liked, and I would like to continue to market to you in the future. I valued you when you bought your home, and I would like to work with you when you go to buy again. But in the meantime, I would also like to ask, would you be interested, or would you be willing to refer me out if you know of anybody looking to buy and sell? Statistically speaking, you're going to hear of 5 people this year, and I'd like to know that I can count on you to recommend me. If you had any hesitations or reservations, I'd like to know what those are. I'd like to work through them, but in the end, I'd like to say I'm sorry and I want to do better. Is that okay? And that's really that's the permission call. That's all it is. We don't take enough time in this industry to explain to our clients that sometimes things are our fault. Your client is at a very high rate willing to work with you the next time they buy a house, but the reason they don't is because we do a horrible job at staying in contact. They may say to you, what's involved, and this is the perfect time to say, hey, since I got you on the phone, let me compare you to my database and see if there's any changes. What are your emails? Oh, by the way, I don't have your spouse's email. What is that? What is the phone numbers? This is also the right time to say, hey, RE/MAX just rolled out Booz CRM. We have new agent to consumer apps. I'd like to send you the link to load on your phone. And there's a value proposition that comes with that. So you should take the time to do that. So how do we set this up? You need to find the database or the list of people that you're working with, create a list of names, make the initial call, input the names into your database, using the 8 and 8 campaign if optional. I'm going to go into that in a second. Mail a thank you card because you made the phone call. Wait a month and start making more phone calls. So in the end, you can't get to this slide, you can't start this slide until you have got your card stock, your thank you cards. You need to get it all ready, all purchased, all set aside, lay it out on a table, come up with a system, and then once you have that system, create that database. And I know you're going to tell me I don't have enough time, but it's up to you. You have to decide, do I have enough time to make more money, or am I going to make excuses? And if you're going to make excuses, then you're going to be what we call the typical realtor. And I'm asking you to get outside of your comfort zone and do what the producers are doing. So what is the 8 and 8? So very quickly, this is, you might have heard of a marketing company called, it was in California, called Hobbs Herder. And so what I'm doing here in this example is explaining to you how this works and that it does work. So Hobbs Herder went into a neighborhood and solicited 500 households. So picture a subdivision with 500 homes. They went into a subdivision. They created a John Doe realtor. They gave him a fake name. It was obviously not John Doe. They created a little bit of a marketing background behind this individual. And they once a week sent out one of these postcards. And whenever you see the verbiage in the box, that is the back side of the postcard. The front side of the postcard can be anything you want. So it could be a cartoon or whatever. And so you'll notice on slide 2 that you'll see box and no box. So this would be in the front of the slide. This would be on the back of the front of the postcard, and that's on the back of the postcard. But back to the story. Hobbs Herder had gone and created a John Doe realtor, and once a week for 8 weeks, called the 8 and 8, they sent out this marketing material. And then they went back into that neighborhood after the 8th week and made phone calls and made contacts to the 500 people and asked the question of, if you were going to list your home, do you have a realtor you would use? And some said yes. But if they didn't say yes, they would then say, but if you had to pick one, is there one that comes to mind that you would pick? And it was funny that with high rate of success, the response in that 500 household neighborhood was that they would pick this John Doe realtor. Little did they know this guy didn't even exist. So it's powerful to understand the example here is to understand the power that is behind being able to stay top of mind awareness. You don't want to find out your first cousin went and bought a house because they didn't know you were in real estate. But let me share with you a personal example for me. I coached high school baseball for 4 years when my son was in high school, and I looked at baseball as a refuge. It was a way for me to get away from real estate. But I never shared with my team that I was a realtor. We never talked about that. Some 7 years later, it now kind of stings a little bit when I see some of those team members and part of the team that are out there buying and selling real estate today, because they're now in the market. So, but it worked for me then. But you have to let the people that you exist. Otherwise, you're going to get exactly what you put into it. So, kind of blowing through these slides, here are the actual slides that they sent, 1 through 8, and that's trying to generate sellers. The next 8 slides that you see are to generate buyers. And so, same thing, works through the 8. And hopefully that this has been helpful. I encourage you to, again, read the material, study the material, spar with the material. And if you have questions, shoot me an email, give me a phone call. And if I get a chance to see you in the classroom, again, this is a 1-hour CE class that I would encourage you to take once a year, if not more. The more often you'll take it, the more often it'll sink in and it'll be useful. So I hope this was of help. I wish you the best. Take care.